Hi everybody, I am too old for toys, and this is the Harute Gundam from the Awakening of the Trailblaizer. And first off, I'd like to say that this guy is a bugger to get to stand up. He is so back heavy. I said it in a previous build, or was it unboxing? That this was the most interesting out of the 4 lead Gundams for me, because I did like the Arios from the second season, and it does remind me a lot of him. Oh, there he goes. In fact, I have to have him in this particular pose where he's holding these rifles out to the front, because otherwise he'd topple over. So you're pretty limited in the types of stances you can have him in. It's just wide-legged, guns to the front, leaning forward. Oh dear. He's very firmly pegged in. Come on. Right. Like the missile silos at the back. Very small, very flimsy. You know, it doesn't really lock into place, and you can twist it into all very strange positions, which is not so good. These armors here at the front like to pop off. The Arios had a similar problem, but I seem to have more of a problem with this one because they're so long. One thing to note is that it has arse armor, which pivots independently, which is very good for a high grade. You don't usually see that, without the hindrance of that honking great backpack. He can stand at last. Accessories, he has these huge sword slash rifle things. It transforms slightly, and the handle comes out. And there's a bit of articulation here. Snaps open to grab mobile suits or what have you. And there is a clear piece here as a blade which you can paint to whatever clear colour you like. But this is how it comes out of the box. These are the grey stickers that are meant to go on the rifles here on the inside. These GN jaws or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, he gets 2 of these and no beam sabers. This guy doesn't have any beam sabers. This is all he has. So he should be able to hold it like this as well, by grabbing it in the handle, but you'd have to take his hands apart, which I'm not going to bother doing for you. So articulation wise, he's okay, I suppose. He tiptoes very nicely. There's a flappy bit of armour here. He has 2 points of articulation for his knees, but I'm not going to move him too much because these armours at the front and back are just going to fall off and be a pain in the ass. Swivel at the top of the hip. There's 1 ball joint at the mid-torso, and he has a the build of this guy is very similar to the Arios, which is kind of a complaint, because if you built the Arios, you feel like you've built this one as well. The elbow joint here is exactly the same as so many 00 Gundam high-grade kits. Swivel at the sleeve and a ball joint at the wrist. There's 2 moulded round dots in there, reminiscent of the Arios again, but not done quite as well, unfortunately, so you should paint that if you want to see it. Well, I suppose you could see it. If you tried really hard, alright, you'd be able to see it. And there's a flappy bit of armour here on his elbows, for no good reason. The head is quite interesting. It has a clear piece over the eyes, like a pair of cool shades or some kind of scope. And the head sculpt, the design of the head with these orangey yellow fins just slapped on. It's not a V fin, it's got 4 separate fins just stuck onto his face. I quite like that. Hey, stop it. It has that familiar GN crotch drive. That his predecessor had. These thruster armor things are just bolted on either side. It looks very strange when you don't have these on. This is, but this again is reminiscent of his counterpart in the first series of 00. Stand up. Size comparisons with a tin of pop. He's a bit taller than a tin of pop. Let's transform him, shall we? I do like this bit about the kit. The chest piece pulls forward on this joint here, and you can flip it up like that. And arms, let's see if this works. Very stiff at the moment. Oh dear. I'm doing this live as the very first time I've attempted this transformation. So his arm fell off. And then what happens now? Straighten out his arms and is that it? Right. Take his knees off, and that allows a sliding mechanism inside between the shin and the upper thigh to work. See that? Because this square peg here goes into the square slot in the knee armor, so you remove that and that goes in there. And I remember there is a click in here. Let's see if I can pick that up with a mic. Bit of a click, and when you straighten it out again, there's a bit of a click there as well, which I do appreciate. Anyway, get back in there. Leg fell off. Peg his thigh back into his hip. Okay, and put him into the tippy toe position. Here it is. So that's what he looks like transformed. And I just peg him back in to his backpack. These armaments slot into the side. So that's what he looks like from the top when he's transformed. The head fins poking out the sides of the cockpit. Okay, you can open up these jaws here. Somebody commented that he looks like a crab. He does a bit. Looking at him from underneath. Oh, at least the face is obscured. Not necessarily like a Gundam is hiding in there. Does it? Maybe it does. I do like the mounting point for the stand between his legs. There is a hatch which actually opens up. I bet it's not going to open up. There you go. There's a cover for it which pivots out of the way, and you can close it to seal it when you don't need it. And that is great because you don't have a tiny piece to lose like you did in the Arios. I did have problems with that. So that's one step up anyway. Oops. That's not supposed to fold away. In conclusion, I would say that for 2,200 yen, That's quite a considerable amount. Gunpla seems to be getting more and more expensive these days. It's kind of like the GN Archer and the Arios lumped into one. So, putting that into consideration, is it value for money? I suppose it's okay. It's up to you, really. If you like it, go out and buy it. If you don't, stay away from it. This guy standing up is a bit of a nightmare. And this is the only movie kit that I'm going to buy. Ta-ta for now.